Hello, it's Helen from Journal with Purpose and welcome to my latest video. Today I'm going to share a quick flip through of this little challenge book that I've been working on throughout the month of July. And if you've seen some of my other videos, you'll know that over on Patreon I release a creative challenge each month. So far we've done patterns, leaves, flowers, blue. So this month was all about feathers, and I just make these 4-inch square, and I use some scrapbooking paper for the cover, and I use then just a range of different papers inside. And I then, if you want to know how to make them, I did a junk journal video, make a junk journal on YouTube here ages ago, and I just use the exact same method. So I pierce 3 holes and then bind it through. But I'll try and remember to leave a video, the link to that video down below. So the aim of this challenge every month is to try and use kind of as many different mediums or styles as possible to kind of build your creative skills and give you some new ideas for things to use in your journals. So for the first day I used some cardi paper, and then I used some watercolor and added gel pen highlights on top. And some of these designs I used were from my first book, and with all the different doodle designs in, and some of them I looked for photos on Pinterest, some of them real photos of feathers, some of them designs other people had done, because this is just a little book to practice in. So on day 2 I used some Derwent metallic pencils on black paper. I'm not sure if you can pick up the lovely sheen of those pencils. And then I used a Uniball Signo white gel pen. That's one of my favourites to use. It works so well on dark coloured papers, and I often use it like on this one for highlights on top of watercolour. And this is Tomo River paper. And it's one of the things that I really enjoy doing is trying different mediums on these papers and just seeing how they kind of work, and then it often makes me think about what I want to add and what might work as part of a journal page. So again, some watercolour there. For this one I used Carmelian pencils on brown craft paper. And this one I did quite a detailed black gel pen sketch. And I find these really relaxing to do. They're often something I do either at lunchtime, perhaps when I'm catching up on other people's YouTube videos, or in the evening I might take it over and do it on my lap on the settee. Just sort of depends how my work day's been. And it really encourages me to do something creative every day. And because it's in this kind of tiny size, I don't find it too intimidating either, because I know that I'll be able to complete something every day. And if I do get a bit behind, then I can easily catch up at the weekend. So for this one it's on some mixed media paper, and I actually painted the shape of the feather in water first and then just dropped lots of different watercolours onto there, and I was really happy with how that one turned out. For this I used some Royal Talens Ecoline liquid watercolour, which I keep forgetting to use, so it's a good reminder for me when I'm looking through my supplies for this challenge to just try and make sure that I use them as often as I can, because I absolutely love how vibrant the colours are. This one was watercolour and gel pen on music paper. Watercolour is without doubt my favourite medium, so it's definitely one I use a lot. For this one I used some acrylic paint and then used some acrylic paint pens on top. And again, I don't tend to use my acrylic paints very much, so it was really nice to get them out and have a play. This one I used gelatos, the Faber-Castell gelatos, and again they've got a beautiful sheen to them. So I used the white gel pen for the outline and then coloured in the different sections using the gelato, and then added some water on top to blend them out to the edges. For this one I used Royal Talens Bruinzeel pencils, and I was really impressed actually with how well they showed up on the black paper. And this one I did a pencil sketch, and I don't often leave things in pencil or do much detail in pencil, so again it was a really lovely way to kind of encourage me back into that. This one, a nice and simple acrylic paint through a feather stencil. And for this one I used some Derwent gouache paints, and they come in a little travel set. They're from Cult Pens, and they're a bit like Watercolor actually, the way those gouache paints are in that set. And I thought there's some beautiful pastel colours in there. For this one I used a gel pen, and I drew the shape of a feather and wrote out the quote, "Feathers appear when angels are near." And I love that, so I thought it was really nice to have in here. For this one I used some washi tape from London Gifties, and I just added all the strips over and then used a craft knife to cut out my design. And these transparent tapes are really good for that, because you can draw your outline first and then you can still see it through the washi tape for when you're cutting. This one I used gel pens. I think again they were, the Uniball Signo gel pens. I find all of their colours work really well. You get a lovely kind of opaque finish to them. This one again was coloured pencils. And this was gouache, and I managed to make a bit of a mess with it, but with some gel pens on top. Actual gouache from the tubes is like my nemesis of art supplies. I love how it looks when other people use it, but not so much when I use it, so it's something I'm working on. And for this one I had a lot of fun. I actually carved my own stamp. I've got a little kind of lino cutting stamp carving set, and if I can find it I'll leave it linked down below. And I hadn't done that in ages, so I was so happy that I was able to carve something that at least looked something like a feather, and then use some different coloured ink pads to stamp that onto my page. But here I used some Tombow ABT pen, but the pro ones, so the alcohol markers, and I know that they seep through pretty much anything, so I did it on a separate piece of card and then glued that into my journal. And I love the look of alcohol markers, and the only reason I don't use them very much is they're not particularly journal friendly, but that was a nice reminder to me that it's good fun to play with them on card and then stick those in our journals. And that one was the white gel pen on craft paper. And that's actually from my washi tape of my product range with London Gifties, and there was feathers in there, so that had to be part of my pages for this month. For this I did some jelly plate printing, and I did some stamping straight onto the jelly plate and then transferred that onto my page, and I really loved how soft those colours came out and just the different imprints of the feathers on there. I thought that was really pretty. And I think it's Suzanne Art. She does some amazing jelly plate printing. I'm going to make sure that I leave a link to her YouTube channel below, because if you've got a jelly plate and you want to do some different things with it, then definitely have a look at her channel. For this one I used a dip pen and fountain ink, and I found that slightly hard to control with all the lines, but actually I was really happy with how that turned out. For this one I painted the outline of the feather shape, again using some fountain pen ink, but it was the Diamine Shimmer one, and I'm not sure if you can see that at all on there. And then I used a gel pen over the top, and it was just in one colour, but because I'd used two different inks, they actually changed the colour of the gel pen, which I thought was quite interesting. And here these designs were definitely from my book, and I used a white gel pen for those. And for this last one I did some heat embossing with some sparkly embossing powder. So I really hope you've enjoyed seeing this, and it maybe gives you some ideas for your own journals too. And as always, I want to say a massive thank you to everybody who's joined me over on Patreon. I hope you're doing really well. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I look forward to speaking with you really soon in my next video.